Hello, friends. Matthew Zachary here. You know, you've been told that the American healthcare system is broken. It isn't. It's working exactly as designed. Delays, denials, dehumanization. For decades, it's been profits over patients. You need proof? What's the first question they ask you? What insurance do you have? That tells you everything. And it isn't just big health insurance. It's the American Medical Association. It's labor unions. It's employers, politicians from both sides, and even the IRS. Yes, the IRS. They built it this way. And now it's time we, the patients, rig the system in our favor. Here's the prescription. We, the patients, understanding, navigating, and surviving America's healthcare nightmare. My new book by me, Matthew Zachary, a 30-year brain cancer survivor, the founder of Stupid Cancer, the host of this podcast, Out of Patients, and co-founder and CEO of We the Patients. Pick up your copy of We the Patients today wherever books are sold, or visit wethepatientsbook.com to learn more.
The most effective people at work aren't working harder than everyone else. They're working smarter inside better systems. Superhuman Go, from the makers of Grammarly, is the AI chat that works inside every tool you already use. Always ready and already aware of what you're working on. It's a teammate whose only job is to help you be better at yours. With Go working with you, you can show off what you do best. See what Superhuman Go can do at superhuman.com. That's superhuman.com.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
Hello, friends. Welcome back to the show. My guest today is my dear friend, Jace Yawnick. Jace was 25 in the prime of his life when life decides to just drop the hammer. He was working in health and wellness, building a marketing business on the side, chasing the same shiny nonsense most 20-somethings chase when his body just taps out. Fatigue turns into chemotherapy, the diagnosis comes with a name that needs its own zip code, and suddenly he's learning oncology vocabulary instead of closing business deals. This guy built an audience while he's in it, not after, but during, posting the real version of cancer that does not fit on a hospital brochure. What he manifested was Jace Beats Cancer with nearly 800,000 followers on Instagram. I met him through our mutual friend, Doug Ullman, the true godfather of young adult cancer, upon whose shoulders I stand, the former CEO of Livestrong in its heyday. This guy is the consummate AYA, adolescent young adult. He lives in the collision between young adult life and a healthcare system that runs on paperwork, luck, and whatever your insurance company feels generous about that particular day. We get into what it means to beat cancer, why he chose that word. It makes a lot of sense in the end. And how a denied PET scan gets approved faster if it goes viral and shames the fuck out of everyone telling him no. A lot of humor today, a lot of rage today, a lot of karma today. My name is Matthew Zachary. This is Out of Patients. Let's get started. It's Jace Beats Matt.
Right.
That's the name of the show.
Yes.
Okay. Because you beat cancer, can you beat Matt?
Right.
I don't really want you to beat me, though.
Right. Are you arm wrestling, playing chess, or?
I was going to go like angry pinky swear.
Okay. I'm in.
You know, that could hurt a little bit.
It can.
Yeah.
It definitely can. I'm a sensitive guy.
Well, you've been through worse.
Yeah.
That little blip of a thing.
It was a little blip of a thing. I don't even remember it.
I need to know if you've kept track of how many people that say, but you look great.
A lot. I haven't kept track, but definitely a lot is the number.
Well, I mean, you do look great.
I feel great.
But you looked really sick when you were sick. A lot of people don't look sick when they're sick.
Yes and no.
Right.
It depends. I was just at the open mic night for Stupid Cancer, and it's a whole room of us, young adults, and some of us are in remission. Some of us had cancer 20 years ago. Some of us are currently going through it. And that's what we all say. Oh, people come up to us, well, you don't look like you have cancer. There's this one guy there, He's been for 2 years now. He does comedy. He's hilarious. He's so funny.
What's his name?
I can't remember his name.
So much for that.
Right. But
You're just useless.
I know I'm useless, but he'll know who he is if he's listening to this. He's a great comedian. He has brain cancer. Ripped. Totally ripped. He deals with it all the time. Oh, you don't look like you have cancer, but he does.
That's some quality cat poster shit right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when we first started the campaigns for Stupid Cancer, like, what are the things we know we're going to be told that we can make fun of in meta to ourselves?
Right.
Yeah. Welcome to the club where you look great, but you kind of don't.
Right. I'm like, all right, I look good. My color's back. I'm filling out, but I have the hairline of a 50-year-old man on Wall Street.
Yeah, I'm missing X many organs, but hey, makeup makes it work.
Right. Oh, that's funny. We're live right now.
Are we? Oh shit! I hit record.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Damn
good.
it. All right, fine. Hello.
Hey.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
This is Jace Yawnick. What the hell is Yawnick anyway?
It's German.
Okay, for what?
It's German for, I don't know, it's Yawnick, so maybe tired gross in English.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It used to be Jarnique, which sounds French. It's a whole thing, but...
what was your mother's maiden name?
I don't know if I should share that on the internet.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Something I should know?
People are like hacking and all this. I mean, you want my social security number too?
I would love a stool sample. Right. On the air.
I've given plenty of those.
Yeah.
There's probably some left over somewhere.
Fantastic. Supply and demand.
Yeah, absolutely.
But your dad is a Yawnick.
My dad is a Yawnick.
Which is German descent.
Yes, and there's some lineage that goes, I think, all over. My great-grandfather did our genealogy at some point, and I don't know, hopefully I could maybe grab some health records there, but as far as I can tell, there's really no history of cancer, definitely not the cancer I had in my family.
Right, which is multisyllabic.
What is that?
How many syllables were in your cancer?
Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma? Are we doing the full thing or just
lymphoma?
No,
the full one.
The primary mediastinal B-cell non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Thank you. That's the one.
Gotcha. I don't know.
Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, that's 6 already.
Right.
But you got like 30 more before it.
Right.
You're extra special.
Well, it took me a while to actually get down saying the full thing. And even then there's some other terms and whatever. I mean, I thought it would at least be just like, here's your diagnosis done. No, there's like hundreds of subtypes of each cancer.
I mean, it's a good problem to have, but you have to learn to spell it. I want people to know what you were doing before you got sick, because you have a really interesting backstory. I mean, cancer fucks everything up. There's no good time to get it.
Right.
But you were on track, and you're back on track for some really cool shit.
Yeah.
What got you into this world? I mean, you're I can make words up. Tech, startup, innovation, venture capital, all this crap. You live in that space. You're like a money guy in a sense, but like, where were you when shit happened?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I was 25 when I got diagnosed. So prior to that, I was 24 and earlier.
But I can do math too.
Right. We're counting. I was, just like every other young adult trying to navigate the kind of chaos of growing up. That's both beautiful and extremely challenging at the same time.
Pandemic, by the way, which honestly, I was in Florida and I just finished college. So the corporate world transferred into be at home, which I didn't really mind, honestly. It was kind of nice. I got to be in the comfort of my own home to do work. But to get back to your question, I was working for a company called Pure, which I still work for. And it's a plant-based sweetener company. So very, very much into health and wellness. That's all that industry is health and wellness. And I've been in it for 8 years. Actually, now I've been in it for 8 years. At that point, it was about 6. And I mean, I was working really hard. I was loving life. I was, on the road. I was trying to gain business. And I'm also very entrepreneurial. So about 4 years ago, I kind of took some of the proceeds I was making from my regular life and got with a friend of mine who I call the other half of my brain. He's so talented in terms Everyone needs one of those, by the way.
Right, exactly. He's really talented in sort of marketing and creative, and I'm more into kind of like the tech and structure and OCD organization. So we figured, hey, let's join forces, and kind of after hours when I'm not working, and he would just kind of do it all the time, let's build this digital solutions marketing company. And it ended up really working out, 4 years later. And
wait, what solutions were you building for? What problems bothered you the most to do something about?
You know, we started with this idea of we want to help people that had really great missions and purpose get it out to the world, because there are so many amazing people that
go to market stuff.
Yeah, like go to market stuff, but not really for products, for people. We wanted to create their personal brands, but really share their ideas with the world. And we ended up along the way discovering all these sort of secondary solutions that became more digital solutions, like, you know, as AI came out and automation came out. I have sort of a systems architecture background, so I was creating a lot of these.
What do those words mean?
It's a really fancy word for saying that I'm a huge nerd.
Okay.
And I
just get that out of the way.
Basically touch the keyboard a bunch and things happen. And
okay, great.
So
cause and effect.
People need that for some reason. But so I was doing all that. And I, to be honest with you, was really, unfortunately, I think a lot of people my age can probably relate to this, but social media had made me very materialistic and like status driven. I was like, I want to have really nice car and I want to like post on my Instagram what I'm doing. Like, oh, look, I'm traveling here and doing this. And it was superficial. It was very superficial. It was almost vain, really. And it was not something, you know, I was growing up still, like, and I'm still growing up, but I remember starting to move away from that idea and that mindset and feeling really lost and just working and working and working and doing it for these things. And I started to get tired, and not in a way that my friends were getting tired. And next thing I knew, I was getting chemotherapy and I had cancer, and it changed, as everybody probably says that you ask and has been on the show. I mean, it changes your whole life.
Best, worst day ever.
Best, worst day ever. I really was looking for some PTO though, so it really helped me.
Your timing was impeccable.
Yes.
Thank your white cells.
It was really, yeah, honestly, shout out white blood cell count for dropping.
So I've always had a beef with sort of pugilistic or military terms in cancer.
Okay.
And everyone's entitled to their metaphor of choice, you know, warrior, fighter, thriver, whatever they want to call themselves. But this idea of beating cancer or losing your battle to cancer or didn't fight hard enough concepts, like I've always, look, you go do you. Whatever helps you sleep at night with the crap you're dealing with, no matter what, that's what I want for you.
Right.
But this very idea of military terms in cancer, war, battle, fight. I say this because the single most infamous Facebook post of stupid cancers in the heyday, I mean like 2011, 2012, 2013, maybe 500,000 people. Like that's where everyone was. There was nothing else. We posted one thing, like, how do you feel about military terminology in cancer? There must have been 16 or 17,000 comments. And my co-founder, we went through them. There was no AI to feed it into. We old school, remember your brain? We used our brains, went through them, and it was divided like right down the middle.
Really?
Right down the middle. It was like, I believe it is a fight. We have to fight. But people who lost somebody said, well, did they not fight hard enough?
Right.
Right. Why did you pick Jace beats cancer? Not just, I get the optimism. That's important.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I did it as a declaration of what my outcome was going to be.
Good.
And I really believe in the power of words and you know, you could call it a little woo-woo if you want, but I wanted
you had two woos on this show.
Right, that was it.
Okay.
I cashed them both in right there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Get that third woo, you're out.
I won't even say it. You just use your third. I wanted it to be, when I logged in, a reminder of where I was headed. Jace beats cancer. That is where I'm going to be. I'm going to beat cancer. But people would ask me, so I'm in remission now, which I don't know if anybody was waiting for, spoiler, I've been in remission, great. People come up to me and they say, are you going to change it to Jace beat cancer? I'm like, no, I'm still navigating it.
Yeah.
And also my mission is until there is no cancer, my mission is to always beat cancer, like to help others beat cancer. And also, people deal with cancer for the rest of their life, even if they're in remission. It unfortunately stays with us for both good and worse, for better and worse.
I just channeling my 30-year badge of honor at this point now. No one lived 30 years ago.
Right.
I got lucky. No one beat anything. You were lucky enough if you like a week later, you're still breathing.
Right.
This is just the way it was. So I'm fascinated at the evolution of the way people have embraced terminology that is allowable to be optimistic, but also represents something that indicates it isn't over when it's over.
Right. Right. I want to go back to what you were just saying. So what did people say? What was the other half of the coin? Because I mean, Jace beats cancer is even aggressive in a certain way. Like, I'm beating it, and that's fine. We all want to kick the shit out of cancer. But what is the other way, to describe it? Like the journey, navigating, like what were some of the words? The
words have changed. I mean, I was never a fan of journey either.
Yeah.
I mean, journey's like I went to the mall, had a journey, and I went to Journeys and bought clothing, right? It's a word. Right. I've heard lived experience. That's jargony bullshit in the boardrooms.
Right.
That means nothing to the average person. Dealing with the shit you didn't ask for is kind of how I like to think about it.
Yeah.
Because I chose to go to Journeys and buy my daughter stuff at the mall, taking a journey to the mall.
Right.
There's a bunch of shit I didn't ask for that I have to fucking deal with. That to me is what it is, and navigation and community, they're just words at this point. Everything back in the 90s was cure. Even today, I would like to think, actually, your impression of this in hindsight, the word cure is not nearly as abundant as it used to be, because I think people have started to realize there's no such thing as cure. Cure means it's gone forever. There's no threat of it anymore. It'll never happen again.
Right.
Right. Like, what have we cured? Polio? No, it's back. There's no cure for nothing right now. Right. You want a cure? Don't buy a pet. You've cured pet ownership. Right. That's your cure. Right. You've grown up in this space. You've been privy to 2020's cancer narrative and bullshit language. Did you see the word cure pervading everything you've been doing, or was it kind of floating around the ether?
No, it was floating around. I mean, I feel like I never saw cure other than the mission statements of let's cure cancer, right, or moving towards a cure for cancer. And honestly, even seeing those, like, it's great. It feels like here's the direction, but it also feels like, are we going to get there?
Right.
I mean, we're walking forever, together, and we've made amazing progress. I'm not belittling that, but I feel like to kind of what we're saying, there needs to be new terminology around it. Like, none of these words really capture it in its fullest form.
It's just become part of our lives.
Yes.
At this point. Now, I vividly remember a moment, probably 2000 and I'm going to make this up. Someone fact check me, probably 2005, 6, 7. In that timeline, a Dr. Andy von Eschenbach took over the National Cancer Institute, and he changed their mission since it was invented in 1971. The mission was to cure cancer. He changed the mission to keep up with where society was moving, and it became to eliminate death and suffering from cancer. More syllables, and I'm usually not in favor of more syllables, but in this case, those more syllables, bad grammar, made sense to me.
Right.
Because we're acknowledging that there is no one such magic cure where it's snap, poof, it goes away.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree completely. And it's to each person to decide what their vocabulary around it is. But for me, it was Jace beats cancer. And a lot of my vocabulary was really trying to be present, like right now, how I'm feeling right now, because it didn't give me the time frame of how long is this going to take. And it stayed away from what have I already gone through. It's like, what's right now? Jace beats cancer right now. I'm beating cancer right now.
I remember back in my day, we talked about how one day cancer might be as good as diabetes. It's a weird way to frame it that way, or AIDS. You can live with it.
Right.
And fine, they're going to make money on you for the rest of your life. I'd rather that than die.
Yes.
Given one over the other. So we are living with cancer in our society. And if we're dying less and living better with it, I'm all for that being what progress means. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, I agree completely with that. I also think the problem has changed, like I mean, not tremendously, but the problem has evolved in a lot of cases. And I'm actually curious to interview you a little bit on this.
Well, go forth.
Well, I'm very privy to the AYA community right now, having been in it, am in it. And first of all, there seems to be, or at least the narrative online is, and I don't know, it feels like this, but it also could be just because I'm in this world now, that there are more young people getting cancer than ever before. Maybe we just have better tracking. Maybe that's just how it appears to be online because all of us are posting about it right now. But it creates a different sort of dialogue around it. What was the dialogue like before all this social media stuff? Because you have people online now, they do everything from there's satire around it. I know creators that are like, they're kind of making jokes with it, which is fine. Comedy is great. And then there's people who kind of did it like I did it, who are just, they're showing the raw truth of what they're going through. What was this like when there was no camera in front of you?
Yeah, great question. Because most of my time, there was no camera in front of us.
Right. Like
For 20 years, there was no camera in front of us.
Right.
The origins of the very letters AYA came about in the late 90s when pediatric hematologists started to realize that survival rates in kids were improving, 18 and under. And that was because, A, no one wants dying bald kids.
Right.
Versus like smelly college students, like whatever. But the chemo worked differently in kids than it did in young adults in their teens, 20s, and 30s versus the chemo working in 40 and over. Like biology of humanity changes as you evolve post-pubescently into adulthood. That period of time is when you're supposed to be doing X, Y, and Z, and your body's equipped to be managing X, Y. So different things happen at different times. But the words didn't even go together. There was no adolescent, young adult cancer. That wasn't a narrative. We had to invent that as a term to exist in the first place in academia, research, best practices, med ed, standards of care, guidelines. It had to exist first. So we didn't even think about anything other than that. That's where it came from. Because if you were diagnosed with cancer in your teens, 20s, 30s, and it was like 15 to 39, 18 to 40, no one could come up with them at 12 to 20. Like no one had any, we made it up.
Right.
I kind of went with the NCI's numbers because why not? Right. NCI pretty much like Hebrew National of good data sources, right? There we go. And at the end of the day, it was like, how do we not get it so badly? Because late detection, not being taken seriously, that's part of your story, my story too. We are but 4% of all diagnoses every year. It's a drop in the bucket. It's not standard to think about this. The odds of getting cancer in your 20s and 30s are infinitesimal. And yet when you buy a Volvo, all you see are Volvos on the highway.
Right.
That's what this is.
Right.
And I'm not going to say it's not that bad. Everyone is terrible. But the numbers have been increasing. Where I think it's controversial, and I want to end on a cliffhanger here, I don't think it's as bad as we say it is, because I think Boogeyman works better to scare people to donate. And so when I was diagnosed in the 90s, something like 1 million people a year got cancer. But they were almost all like stage 4 because there was nothing. Mammograms were just coming out. There was no whatever. Today, it's 2 million. But 1.5 of them are like stage 2B and under. So I'm happy that we're finding it earlier and less people are getting it later detection. That to me is progress. But they're still saying 2 million a year. Yes, that's terrible. But if 1.5 or 1.6 million of those are not death right away, I see that as progress. So AYA was 70,000 in early 2000s. Now it's 80,000. So 10,000 more people a year are getting sick in AYA that we're aware of. But it's been 30 years. Is that population adjusted? Are people getting it less with this cancer and more for that cancer? I don't know. But I want to end on that note because I just want to get people to start thinking about what do these numbers really mean.
Right.
So we'll be right back after this break from Not Cologuard. We're back. Did I answer your question or did I open up like 9 more questions?
You opened up 9 more questions, but I love that. We'll get into hopefully 4 of them. No, you did answer it, but I guess a more pointed question would be when you were young and you had cancer, did you meet any other young adults with cancer? Any other? Yeah.
Well, all right. So I'm part of like 3 decades.
Right.
So the first decade, like 96 to 06, kind of no. There was nothing, there was nowhere to know anybody.
No.
And every time I went back to Sloan or NYU for follow-up, they didn't have young adult programs. Hey, Matt, you're not 80. Meet these people. No,
right.
It didn't happen. On occasion, maybe here and there, it really wasn't until like 02, 03, 04 that I met people that were in their 20s like me by accident. It was never like Tinder for cancer or all the shit we have now. Like, it didn't exist. And I happened to bump into some people who were also like me. They also happened to be running Livestrong. So I fell into shit. We know our friend Doug Ullman.
Yep.
Right? Doug was one of my first cancer buddies.
Yep.
And my God, he was a rabbit hole to jump down, right? So I got lucky meeting Doug and a bunch of other cronies in that space. And that's how I got sucked into AYA. But then it was like, I'm driving the Volvo on the highway and only seeing Volvos because I'm only with us. So the isolation was the number one thing. How do we let other people know? This is before Facebook. This is 07, 8, 9, 10. How is it possible that you shouldn't have to be lucky to know you're not the only 24-year-old going through this? And it was just the way it was. That's kind of how, that was the ecosystem back then. You just had to be lucky, which was not okay.
Yeah, no, definitely not okay. I mean, there's so many resources, thanks to you. Very, very fortunate that
Rush's shoulder.
Yeah, there you go. I can't even imagine. And it feels as though even with all of the resources that we have now, there's still so many young adults with cancer that feel so isolated. I mean, they choose to kind of stay separated from the group, which I completely understand. But I mean, that's a whole nother part of this issue that I guess I'm curious to get your take on is the mental health side of all of this, which I feel is the biggest gap right now in all of this. Like, we're connecting people, we're doing everything we can, but I mean, you go to the hospital, you're like, okay, I'm getting chemotherapy, I have to face my mortality at a young age. Do you guys give me a therapist? No. Not like, I mean, I think people at MSK do.
Yeah.
But I mean, where I got treated, no.
But that's like Canyon Ranch. Not everyone's like Canyon Ranch. Sloan Kettering is like concierge central.
Yeah, I mean, I've only heard great things, but I didn't get treated there.
Right. Honestly, so Gen Xers have an interesting take on this.
Okay.
And these are like the Gen Xers, like the Gen X AYA batch 1.0 of us from the 2000s.
Right.
We grew up feral children.
Right.
So we don't live and breathe on, needing a lot of stuff. We can take care of ourselves. And when shit hits the fan, we kind of just, I wasn't walk it off. I was told walk it off. You look great, get on with your life. Like, I can barely do anything at this point now. All right, fine, I'll just tough it out because that's what we do. We're feral children in the 80s. But it doesn't preclude the fact that it would have been nice to be offered the opportunity to realize how nice would it be to meet someone like me and be given the choice to not feel alone.
Right.
Versus thinking you're the only human being on the planet with this shit.
Right.
That was what it was back then. There was no mental health. The word survivorship was just coming into the mainstream, which itself is its own jargon word. Livestrong used the word survivorship. They built the survivorship clinics. They're the Livestrong Survivorship Army. But that was a wonky word for inside baseball people. Mental health didn't mean anything at that point. Like, mental health was Dr. Drew and rehab.
Right.
Right. It was just drugs and opioid, all the crazy shit. But there was one woman named Ellen Stovall. Ellen's in my book. Ellen was one of my mentors. She's a luminary woman in all of cancer survivorship history. The first president of the National Coalition for Cancer Survivorship, starting in 1996, which was started in 1986. It took 20 years for the word survivorship to go from the name of an organization to standard practice. But Ellen said this: the quality of your life should be tantamount to the quality of your care. And that set forth another jargon term called psychosocial well-being. Jargon. Just, can I feel less shitty today, please?
Right.
Is really what that meant.
Right.
But yes, thankfully, and I'm not going to say this was because of the young adult cancer movement, but the awareness of not being alone and how that impacts your life meant something very differently when you're not 80. It's your job. It's your kids. It's your family. It's your caregiving. It's your parents. It's your lifestyle. And to your point before, when you're not 80, you're supposed to be taking 10 steps forward every day, not 12 steps backwards every day. And it's hard enough to be well when you're 24, let alone when you're dealing with the shit. So I don't want to completely credit AYA for making it like our brains control how well we feel as well as the shit trying to get the cancer out of us.
Right.
But we made a lot of noise about mental health before that was a term.
Yeah. Well, I mean, shout out to, I was going to say this at some point, but I mean, you to me, gonna give you some props here. You're on.
I shall inhale.
Yes. You are on the Mount Rushmore of young adult cancer advocacy, at least in my book.
You can stay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. He told me I had to say that before. No, I'm just kidding. So in terms of then to now, I guess my next question, you gave me the perspective then, looking at now, the problems have changed, and the problems have changed in terms of what does the entire ecosystem of really the planet look like? Do you think that AYAs today struggle more, particularly even with the financial landscape, than they may have back then?
I look at this as having better problems to have.
Right.
Things are more complicated today because it's today, and because of the internet and the news cycle, and everything's more expensive. The pandemic did no one any favors. The war that we're recording this now with the fucking war, nothing is helping anyone right now. So it's differently better and differently worse. The mission of Stupid Cancer and the Live Strong Young Adult Alliance was to basically establish standards of care, best practices, and mandates that if you're not 6 or 60, you get treated this way. I would like to believe that by and large, that is set in stone. Fertility advocacy, sperm banking, oocyte preservation, those things should by now be institutionalized worldwide, whether they're covered or not. That should be, I want to believe, the foundation we built as a house. Whether or not the house is fully furnished is part 2 of that conversation. But we're also at a point now where drugs are different. I was diagnosed with 4 chemos. Surgery, 4 chemos, good luck. Right now, there's a billion things. Genetics, immunotherapies, biomarkers, jargon. So it's just like Eric Carmen. Jargon. It's the South Park. Right?
Yeah.
And how you have to navigate through the system is also now much more complicated based on your health insurance. Even before ACA, when it was like pre-existing condition and it was terrible, it's way more complicated now because most young adults are part of the 160 million Americans that have employer-based care. So you're rolling the dice on who you work for. You don't go to work for somebody knowing you're going to get sick and making sure you have what you have. You get what you want because you want a job, because you're 24. You got to pay the rent.
Right.
So there's a roulette to this that really was very different 20, 30 years ago. Just because you may have access where your insurance lets this happen, where it lets it happen may not have the resources to help you as a young adult, because 80% of young adults are diagnosed in bumblefuck America. Not at Sloan, not at MD Anderson, not at Chase or Moffitt. And that's true for anyone. So the rural hospitals and the community centers don't always have the infrastructure to support the standards of care that they know they should be practicing. So that's a very long answer.
Yeah,
It's differently complicated.
I like how you framed it, though. It's we kind of have complicated problems, but they're better problems to have, considering, again, you go back to that time frame, that time period, and survival rates were, people were just trying to live at that point. Now we're at the point where, okay, thankfully people are living longer, and now they have more problems.
Right.
How do we solve those problems? But it's a huge issue. I mean, I'm struggling with my mental health constantly, and when I put out surveys, to 700,000 people on Instagram saying, what's your biggest problem right now? And it's caregivers and it's patients and it's survivors. And there's 3 options. And one of them is their health. One of them is their finances. And the third one is their mental health. And over 52% are answering their mental health. That highlights a massive problem. Like, what is the solution on this? And one of them is, fortunately, connecting with other AYAs, at least for the young adults.
Mental health also, I got to put my Gen X hat on. It's become like Kleenex, it means nothing anymore because it means 50 billion different things.
Right.
And when it means nothing, it means everything. And when it means everything, it means nothing. What specifically do people need? Because everyone has some degree of mental health problems. Do they need medication? Do they need weed? Do they need psychedelics? Do they need therapy? It's like there's no one answer because everyone's a snowflake, which is a good problem to have because you want to solve the thing that's unique to you.
Right.
The cause of the trauma is what makes it individualized. But how the trauma is managed and access to the solutions that help you manage the trauma are really where I look at mental health as like a circus tent. So what is it that people need? You're never not going to have stress. I'm not a fan of double negatives, but I just said that. You're never not going to have stress. There's always going to be something that is keeping you awake at 3 a.m, whether it's your longevity, your finances, your sick kid, your sick mom, whatever it is. Where do we live now in society where there's literally never a dull moment? If you're scrolling and doom scrolling and everything, it's endless stimulus. Where do you find solace at 3 a.m? And what would you recommend to other people then?
Yeah, well, I wish I had that answer. That's where I'm at.
I have to leave now.
Yeah.
I expected an answer.
I gave you the compliment earlier, so that I get the freebie on this one.
Get a mulligan.
Yeah, thank you. That's where I pose it to others. I mean, that's what the importance of connecting with those other AYAs, which I think is great. But it's just very interesting, the conversations that the AYA community, especially the young adults, get to have, framing around modern day problems while on top of that dealing with cancer. Right. It's like this whole just absolutely fucking horrible pie of, hey, like, let's talk about, our futures. Oh, well, are we going to be alive for that? What should we even be talking about right now? It's really challenging. And I think where the mental health conversation is interesting is I'm in a lot of AYA groups, and sometimes those groups, somebody will come forward with really, really heavy stuff. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we're all sitting there in this world of, we know what you're talking about, but we're not qualified to help you.
Right. You're not a therapist.
No. So, I mean, that's where I liked your answer. I mean, there is kind of a smorgasbord of options that people can get, and it stems from what is their, what is ailing them? What kind of specialty do they need?
Right. And this kind of throws me back to the earliest days of peer-to-peer, which is we need psychosocial services and mental health and therapists, but we're not those people.
Right.
And yet there's an interdependency that happens that you don't expect to happen when you meet people. CancerCon and the OMG Summit back in the day, that was therapy.
Right.
People were coming, they were miserable and they left elated, but then they had like a grief because they couldn't have it again. But you can't solve for that. And as much as you're feeling a need, we can't be therapists to everybody, nor do I ever want to feel comfortable telling somebody I don't want to be there for you, but I'm not your fucking doctor. And where do you draw the boundaries on that when you yourself are getting your own heart pangs, helping someone else with the shit you're dealing with?
I like that. I like that answer a lot. I want to kind of move to almost something similar, but kind of like branching off of it, because off of like the topic of mental health, there are a million other things I've noticed now being in this world of, oncology in general, is there's so much, as there should be, but there is so much innovation happening. You went the route of starting an amazing nonprofit with Stupid Cancer and had done so much to give back to that community. There is a whole group of people now outside of pharmaceuticals that are looking to innovate in the world of oncology. Yet often they're being ridiculed because they are, quote unquote, selling to cancer patients. What's your opinion on sort of entrepreneurial innovation in the oncology world outside of pharmaceuticals?
Capitalism works when it works. Caveat emptor. And free market. You don't like it, shut up. Turn the channel.
Right. Interesting.
I believe that if taking into consideration that I have little faith in humanity, having lived with them, if your product or service that could be a benefit to a consumer and it passes all the safety and it gets its 510K or it gets its FDA clearance and it's not something you need prescribed, everyone has a right to know they can buy it and trust it. Caveat emptor. But if you're selling bullshit nutritional shit that says, I can cure your cancer with snake oil and piss, just put in your shaker with some whiskey and you'll be fine. Shove it in your ass and you're cured. No, that's not okay. But who's watching those watchers? is where, because anyone now can set up like some kind of Squarespace store and make things look super slick and use AI to make a fake Hulk Hogan come back to life and say, all right, whatever the hell. It's too easy to get duped these days. So I do believe there should be some regulation. There isn't. And that's the problem. But at the same time, I would like to know where science lives with data and evidence in lay speak with trust. And that is also what's missing. Innovation, selling to cancer patients, saying it that way does it a disservice.
Right.
Because I'm looking to bring to the market, I'm going to jargon this up, a product that I feel would be beneficial to buyers to improve their quality of life. And if you're able to do that in a meaningful way, then go for it. But don't be a dick about it, which is my only commandment.
Right.
Don't be an asshole.
Don't be a dick about it. Boom, stamp it.
Because there was a term I used a while ago, consumer oncology, which is like, you're just a person that still shops at Kroger's. You just happen to have cancer. But should I market to you because you're sick, like a pharma company's ad? But if I'm selling something that I think you would benefit from, an app, a planner, a genetic test, for example, that has meaning and purpose to it, authentically, optimistically, yes, go to market and do your best.
Interesting. I like that take. I tend to have a problem with the like consumer oncology market, as you said, sometimes, because I feel like there are a lot of charlatans. I feel like there are a lot of people, and unfortunately it actually stems from, something I do in terms of, I make videos on my platform, but I don't sell anything. But I see a lot of people that have big followings and maybe they shared their story. They're not, and I'm not saying you have to be a qualified physician necessarily to know, certain things, but there's a lot of people selling a lot of stuff that can end up being really harmful to cancer patients. And I don't know where the line is there. Because on one hand, I like that they're sharing, some of them are just trying to share diets and things like that. But, at what point are people listening to their phone more than they're listening to their oncologist? And is that the right or wrong thing to do in any case? I don't know.
Darwinian economics.
Okay.
All right. One more break. We'll be right back.
The people who seem to get more done than everyone else, they're not working longer hours or running on more caffeine. They've just stopped wasting time on the stuff that doesn't move work forward. Switching apps, re-explaining context, hunting for files, those aren't small inefficiencies. They're hours wasted every week. Superhuman Go gives you those hours back. From the makers of Grammarly, Go is an AI chat that sits inside every tab and tool you already use. Always available and ready to help you with what you're working on. Ask it to draft something, summarize a long thread, pull up a file, or prep you for a meeting. Go handles it without you ever leaving the page you're on. This is what it looks like when AI actually fits into your work, instead of adding to it. It's like having a teammate whose only job is to help you be better at yours. Go keeps up so you can move forward. And with Go working with you, you can show off what you do best. See what Superhuman Go can do at superhuman.com. That's superhuman.com.
So I want to leave you with the biggest thought piece that's in my book.
Okay.
Nothing matters if insurance declines your care. There isn't a single piece of innovation on the planet that can get overwritten by United Healthcare. Rhetorically speaking, but they are the worst player, not a sponsor.
Unless they were that last commercial.
No, yeah, God, no. Please, God, no. My bully pulpit these days is that there is no cure, there is no research, there is no innovation, there is no go-to-market. There's nothing. Advocacy itself is evidence of failure of the American healthcare system. Because at the end of the day, your destiny is no longer your genetics, your job, and it's who is your insurance. The sole determinant of your longevity should not be the answer to the question, who's your insurance? That's where I'm at now. Anyone that's trying to help, that's great. If you're doing consumer, Good luck with that. We discussed that before. Try not to be a jerk. Don't sell shit to people. But caveat emptor, Darwinian economics. But in the cure space, I'm using the word intentionally, in the try to not get it, the diagnostic space, if it's not covered, who gives a shit? Your thoughts on my optimism?
Yeah. Well, you and I, even off this show, have talked at lengths just at the broken aspects of the system. I've seen it fail, and I don't want to ever say I've seen it win, because there is no win. There is just, I've seen it work properly, and then I've seen it fail. There is no win. Win is just everybody gets it.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking to see it fail. And I like what you said. I mean, the fact that there is a need of advocacy only means that there is failure occurring. There are broken links in that system. So there is just so much importance to what you're doing. But I'd argue that people are not, I mean, they are talking about it, but they're not, nobody's hair is on fire enough. And unfortunately, when their hair is on fire is when they're looking at a piece of paper saying that the medication they need to live was denied.
Yeah. I mean, you've done your share of Hill days.
Yeah.
And I've been very vocal about I've done Hill days, and I think they're blitheringly useless in oncology, at least. They work in other means because it's a little easier to get less complicated things done, with oncology being like the most complicated ball of wire you could possibly imagine. A ball of wire?
Sure.
I don't know. Whatever I meant. Everyone knows, hopefully you know what I meant.
Right.
Begging the government to do the right thing doesn't matter anymore. It's all about the transfer of money and power. And I just live in this space where I want to see what advocacy means in the next couple of years, because it can't still be the shit we were doing 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I feel it's great to voice your opinion. However, the only voices I really see get a solution are the ones that have massive influence and reach. Right. I've seen people post talking about, hey, my coverage was denied, I'm about to die of cancer, gets 5 million views. Guess what happens? It gets approved. What about everyone else that didn't have a viral video, didn't get a news story coverage from their local news station or a national station? There's too many people. It's PR. Like, there's too much PR in the victory. There should be standard wins in your everyday person. How do we achieve that? It's clearly not by them holding up a sign in front of, their elected official's office. I mean, it helps maybe, but maybe not enough.
Yeah. And I posted on LinkedIn, this one, I wasn't expecting this particular post to do really well, but Mark Cuban, who, as we know, is kind of like, we're fanboys of each other at this point. Hi, Mark. He doesn't listen. He is swooping in like Robin Hood and paying for people's treatments out of his own money, or forcing them and shaming them on LinkedIn to do hey, CEO of this healthcare, I know there's this person who's dying that you're ignoring. Like, you shouldn't need Mark Cuban.
Right.
To get you unfucked.
Right. But that's what I was saying. It's a PR, like, unless you have tremendous influence into this media ecosystem that we have now, whether it's regular network TV or social media, thankfully we have the channels to do it now. But why are we begging? Why do why does somebody have to get on and hold their camera up, hit record, and go, I have to now tell you this awful thing that happened? And then the company goes, oh, wow, how did this happen? It's approved now.
Oops.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like the tenants' rights folks in the 80s. Like, if there was a guy named Helmy Howard on CBS here, I think it was CBS in the city growing up. And Helmy Howard was like, if you were a tenant and your landlord was like a jerk and wasn't fixing your heat or whatever, you could call Helmy Howard and he would like find the landlord walking down the street and ambush them with a camera crew and say, I see it, 167 West 43. And like, they would fix the pipes the next day.
Okay.
Like, you had to go to Helmy Howard to get the landlords to work the right way. That's pretty terrible these days, but that's what this is now. We need Helmy Howard to come back and fix this.
I'm going to actually find it right now really quick, because here's what's interesting. I actually ought to introduce you to this guy, but
you know Helmy Howard?
No, unfortunately not. But although I do need something fixed, so maybe we'll trade info here. There's a gentleman that I made a post not super long ago about I'm now in monitoring stage.
Yes.
And I had to get a PET scan. And of course, when I was acutely ill, fortunately, I was getting things approved. I actually had a really good oncologist who went the extra mile, which not every oncologist does. And if something was not getting approved, he'd call and he'd go, okay, so who denied this, and are they an oncologist? Like, do they outrank me, basically?
Yeah, some dentist told your oncologist you can't have this.
Exactly. And, he would get it approved. Now, you hope that every oncologist does this, but it's not always the case. So there is a gentleman online, and I'll have to find his name. I'm not finding it right now, but he does this. I mean, he makes content around this exact thing where he'll find somebody who gets it denied. And I met him because people were commenting on mine when my PET scan got denied. And
you weren't dying enough for your PET scan, by the way.
Exactly. And so they said,
you go to Disney World, you must be this dying to ride this ride. Yeah.
I better see a comic on LinkedIn about that one. But that's what it needs to be. I mean, maybe there is kind of talking about the oncology sector of the market, consumer oncology. Maybe that's where it is, where these companies start popping up where it's, hey, you can now hire us and we'll fight with your insurance for you.
That exists. There's something called concierge board certified patient advocates.
Okay. I didn't hear about it.
No, because they don't know how to market themselves. But I think that alone in itself is additional evidence of failure.
Right.
That you are already going broke, getting chemo and shit, and you have to lay out money to hire Winston Wolfe from Pulp Fiction to clean the brains out of the back of your car for you.
Right.
That is not okay that you have to hire somebody to unfuck you.
Right.
And you'd be lucky if they're good. And then how do you vet how good at unfucking you those people are? There's no Motion Picture Ratings Association for the unfuckers.
Right.
I'm a professional healthcare unfucker.
Yeah.
Prove it. Here's my badge. What? No, you bought that at the store. Like, this is where we are now. And you can hire somebody to help you to fight your battle for you. But that's the game. The game it isn't broken. It's built this way. And they count on you not knowing what to do. And if you happen to be lucky enough to know someone to shame them, then they'll do the right thing. Only because they don't want the bad press.
Right. I mean, there needs to be punishment. I don't know what that is, but it's people's lives. I mean, and I'm not saying anything people haven't said before, but it's just so fucking disappointing. It's just so disappointing. And unfortunately, a lot of people like to share their opinions who have not been in our shoes.
Yeah.
I see too many people who don't understand it. And honestly, I'm glad they don't understand it. I hope they never understand it. But when I'm sitting there and you're talking to two young adults, I'm talking to two other people in their 20s who have cancer, and one of them got, something approved and the other one didn't. Or they're like, yeah, I'm on a clinical trial right now, and unfortunately it's not being covered anymore because of, this, then this, then this, then this that happened completely outside of their cancer treatment, just some, whatever current event. They could die from it. That shouldn't be the case. And they shouldn't have to fight for that.
Have you met our country?
Yeah. Recently.
All right. End of the airing of the grievances section of our show.
Right.
Let's spend 5 minutes on where you are right now. You're getting married. Mazel tov.
I'm getting married, to the love of my life.
Yes,
Sarah.
as one should.
Yes.
I'm getting married, but I hate her.
Yeah. No, there is so much good that comes out of cancer too. I know we've talked about our grievances, and I'm lucky to be here. And
getting your PET scan tonight.
You're right. Yeah, exactly. But one of those things was just the amazing time I get to spend with the love of my life, Sarah, and I'm getting married.
Yes, I'm so happy for you. We are all very happy for you.
Yes, very excited, and life does go on as you go through it.
As Jace continues to beats cancer.
Yes, right, exactly. As I beats cancer. That's what I'm going to start saying. I'm beatsing cancer.
All right, on to our quick bonus round. You probably know this. I invite my chat to learn who you are.
Sure.
And I ask it, if you were a Netflix series, what 3 pop culture icons would embody your character? And the results are in.
Okay.
It's batting like 95%.
Okay.
So I asked to pick a Gen X and a Gen Y.
Okay.
And I think it did it right. First and foremost, you are very clearly and very appropriately Michael J. Fox.
Okay.
Not because of the diagnosis symmetry, but because both stories turn public visibility into a form of service. Michael J. Fox built a persona that could hold optimism and seriousness at the same time. And you are a younger digital version of that by turning survivorship into community organizing and public education.
I love that. And I've been listening to a lot of Huey Lewis in the news lately, so that's very fitting.
Power of love. All right. You are Claire Fisher from 6 Feet Under.
Okay.
Did you watch that show?
Nope.
All right. I'm going to say it anyway. Okay. You have homework.
Sure. Deal.
She can't. By the way, one of the best endings of any series ever, the last episode.
Interesting.
So Claire carries the same raw, exposed, no clean ending energy. Your public story has that mix of sincerity, instability, grief, self-invention, and trying to become an adult while death stands in the room. And you are Jon Stewart.
Okay.
The reason is not necessarily for the comedy. It's the moral tone. Your best mode has always been, I'm going to use my platform that I somehow got dragged into to bring attention to people getting ignored. Your move from personal updates to grants and support and blunt talk about care barriers carries a very similar civic instinct that Jon Stewart brought to media. Look at that.
I love that.
Yes.
That's amazing. I feel so good.
You can keep this as your receipt.
I actually would love to. Thank you.
All right. Any parting thoughts?
Any parting thoughts? I should have been prepared for this. I don't have any books coming out. I have some things I'm working on behind the scenes, but that'll be shared later. Honestly, my parting thoughts are cancer fucking sucks. And everybody going through it, I get it. You don't have to have the toxic positivity. You can be real with it. And we all know what it's like going through it. You know, everybody else that's in that community. So I would just encourage you, because I know the days where you just want to be alone with it, and those days are okay too, but reach out to somebody. I'm big on mental health. Reach out to somebody, reach out to your center, find a way to connect with somebody else so that you don't have to go through it alone, because one of the things that helped me through it was just connecting with so many.
Well said. Jace Yawnick, everybody, at Jace Beats Cancer.
Yes.
On Instagram.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Absolute pleasure, my friend. Take care.
Absolutely. You too.
All right, folks. We'll see you next time on the show. Take care. Bye-bye.
Out of Patience with Matthew Zachary is a production of Matthew Zachary Worldwide. The executive producer is Matthew Zachary. It is mixed and edited by Kyle Moore. If you like the show, ratings and reviews are always welcome wherever you get your podcasts. If you have guest suggestions or would like to learn more about sponsorship opportunities, email podcast@matthewzachary.com. For more information about Matthew Zachary and Matthew Zachary Worldwide, visit matthewzachary.com.